Good morning, all. This is Jai from Salt Spring Life, and today I am thrilled to have John with me. I'm really excited to learn a little bit more about what Salt Spring Life means to John.
I have family that are here, and once I visited, it was like, oh, this is like home for me. This is where I would like to be. So when an opportunity arose after I retired, I was able to move here to Salt Spring.
Nice. And can you put your finger on or identify kind of what that vibe was that made you feel so drawn to the island when you first visited?
Well, the first thing, of course, and as people come here realize, it's the nature. It's the oceans, it's the forest, it's that natural world. You just step outside your door and you're in the natural world. And I've always loved nature. I've always loved mountains and forests, and particularly lakes and rivers. So when I visited, you hit with that at first. It's that sort of aha moment of like being in nature, being alive in nature. The other part was that sense of being who I am and who I need to be is supported here on the island.
Yeah, that authenticity really resonates with me. I feel the same kind of journey coming here, being able to express my truth and who I am. And a part of that for you has been really getting into yoga and furthering that journey here on the island. And I'm wondering if you could share a little bit about how that has gone for you.
But about 20 years ago, I had an opportunity to go to a yoga class. It was just held in a high school back in East in New Brunswick, where I'm from. I went to the class, and I know it's a bit of a cliche, but it felt like coming home. We did a few postures. I didn't really know what I was doing. We did a little bit of breath work. And again, I was like, what's this all about? But it felt so natural and so real. And then when I moved to Salt Spring, I thought, how am I going to create the life here that I want? And one way was through yoga. And I had the opportunity, very gratefully, that a couple of studios wanted me to teach, and I started teaching first just to supply teach, and then got a class of my own, and then another studio asked me if I would teach. And yeah, it evolved from wanting a community and wanting to share something that was important to me to being able to do that.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing that. I wanted to dig in a little bit to your comment about feeling like you were coming home. And that seems really powerful. And I know a lot of people look at the popularity of yoga and wonder what the draw is. So the feeling of grounding ourselves or finding our center, I just wonder if you could speak a little bit more to what that feeling was. And I know it's a little hard to articulate potentially, but I think maybe it would inspire others to give yoga a try.
Well, interestingly enough, when you talk about Salt Spring and you talk about yoga, the same kind of thing happened for me. It was like my spirit, my inner knowing connected with the island and connected with the yoga practice. Yoga embodies all of the things that are important to me. That sense of coming home, that sense of being physical, the sense of connecting with who we really are, which we mentioned before.
Beautiful, well put. And how has the practice helped you manage the mind, manage the incessant thoughts, manage the anxiety, manage, all of those tricks that the mind plays on us so often?
It's a great question. I used to be one of these people, and still tend to be, full of anxiety, worry about the future. The other thing that I noticed was that I was often in a situation and wishing I was somewhere else. Even if the situation was good, I would be like, oh, I wish this was over, or maybe I should. And then when I would get to the other there, I would want to be somewhere else. But what yoga and meditation, pranayama, breathing, has brought to me is that the external, while we have preferences and certain things and people that we like to be around, it's the internal that we need to let go. And as you say, that those incessant thoughts, just stepping away from it and realizing that we're not our thoughts. In our society, we're not taught that, but yoga gives you an opportunity to kind of like, okay, there's a thought, and just kind of let it pass through, focus on the breathing. It's a way to kind of let go of the anxiety and realize that the anxiety is not me, it's just a feeling.
I know one of your recent initiatives that is making a great impact is the 100 Men That Care. I'm wondering if you could share a little bit about the inspiration behind that and how it works if people want to get involved.
Great. Years ago, I heard about 100 Men Who Care, 100 Women Who Care, back when I was, again, living in New Brunswick. And the idea just seemed to like really work for me. It's a very simple idea in that men come together, in this case men. There's also a women's group on the island, which helped us inform our decisions when we went to form the men's group. But it's a group of men who come together 3 times a year. Your only commitment is providing $100 at each of the meetings. The members nominate nonprofits who are on the island. They have to be on Salt Spring. And then the men vote on who they want to support. So in 45 minutes, an hour, less than an hour sometimes, an organization can make up to $10,000. That's always the clicker. That's always like, wow. So it's a very simple concept. It doesn't involve a lot of effort, but it's one that really works.
Powerful. What a powerful impact. 10 grand, 45 minutes, that can make a big impact to a nonprofit on the island. Absolutely. Well, I think it's so powerful due to the simplicity, and people don't need to commit a lot of time. And I think it's important to be mindful that during these isolating times, folks that are vulnerable and charitable organizations struggle, and that we can continue to support them through initiatives like this.
Right, and even if we can't gather, we can do it online, which is what we did in October. But yes, to continue to kind of support these more vulnerable populations or organizations that don't receive regular funding from government.
We have a beautiful community that relies on the many nonprofits on the island, so I just really commend you for spending your time, for organizing the 100 Men and making that impact in our community. Thank you very much for that.